Now today I've got a bunch of new gigapans to show you, from not only from the Perseverance rover but also from the Curiosity rover in Gale Crater. So we've got this one here. This is Sol 38. Now this is the larger version of Sol 38. I've already showed this gigapan, but the smaller version. This is bigger and it's got more images in it and is wider, so you can see a lot more in this, and it's pretty good actually. The detail is pretty good in this one. And there's also Sol 36, this one here, which is a bit smaller. This is only made up of a few images, and there's a couple of new things to see here, or at least one new thing to see here, which is really cool. And I've also got this image here from Sol 3072. This is Gale Crater, and there's another couple more from Gale Crater which are near that as well. So to start with, let's have a look at this one. Now this one was cool because what we have here is the case or cover which was underneath the Perseverance rover and was protecting the Copter drone, which is now being deployed onto the ground. Okay, I'll put some images of that up in a second. And basically this was underneath protecting it, and there's you can see actually when you zoom in, you can actually see the clips here where it was clipped on, and this was dropped on the ground so that the Copter drone could deploy onto the ground, ready for its flight in a couple of days' time. Okay, apparently it's going to be flying on the 8th, which is 2 days from today. But what interested me about this wasn't just the cover itself, this thing here, but the thing next to it. This was really odd, sticking up here. Now this is probably just a rock, but it's very odd. It's a very odd shape, and it's kind of sticking up like a standing stone. Now this isn't particularly large, but I would say it's probably a couple of feet high, and it's about 5 or so feet behind the Copter cover here, protective cover. Very strange. So that was weird. And there's loads of weird things in this gigapan actually, and I've shown a few of them already. There will be links below for these gigapans. Check near the top of the description. There'll be these gigapans I'm going to show you, plus the main page where all my gigapans are. There's over 100 on there now, and there's loads of Jezero Crater and stuff like that, and the new Perseverance rover. Okay, so check that out. Now this was a really cool one. This was found by George McKay and posted it on April the 4th, and this was spotted in one of my gigapans that I put up previously to that a couple of days earlier, and he'd been looking through it and found it, and lots of people are liking this. Now what we do on these pages like Mars Magazine, on these groups, and Mars and Civilization Lost, on these sort of groups and many others, what we do is we find things and then we post them on the page, and then other people look at it and like it or not, and generally the genuine finds tend to get a lot more likes and comments, whereas things that are dubious or maybe an optical trick usually don't get as much interest, and people will say, oh, that looks like an optical trick, or it's just a trick of light and shadow or whatever. And often these things can be. We often get optical tricks with these images because you can get tricks from not only the lighting, but from the literal camouflage that's been put on the image by NASA. Okay, so that can make it quite hard to find these things, and a lot of people have joined up this site, Mars Magazine, in the last week, last month I would say. Hundreds and hundreds of new people have joined, as well as Mars and Civilization Lost. Thousands of people have joined that in the last few days, but a lot of trolls are coming along and trying to discourage some of us researchers. Now what we're doing here is digital archaeology. Now when you do archaeology, you have to sift through a lot of rocks to find the cool stuff, and this is one of the cool things. But in order to get to this, you may have to go through 100 or thousands of rocks to find one. Okay, this is how we do it. So if anyone comes on these pages and keeps on using the pareidolia word, like the pareidolia police like to, and starts trolling us, then you will be removed. Okay, so there we are. This is archaeology. People do not troll archaeologists in Egypt, so why should they troll archaeologists working with Mars images? There's no reason for it. Okay, so you have been warned. But of course, 99% of the people on these pages are absolutely cool, and a lot of them are finding some cool stuff now. So that's great. So let's move on. So there was that. Now, this is the image that he spotted it in, just down here. Now, I put this up a couple of days earlier, and I didn't spot this. This is a really cool one. But as I said, the sand and dust tends to camouflage these, as well as the yellow-orange filter that NASA use, and it makes everything look the same, okay? It's very hard to differentiate between what's in front and what's behind. So you have to color correct these and use something like fade correction, which is what I use, to bring the blues back into the image. And here is the enhanced version, just here. Then you can actually tell that this is what it is. You can see the eye, nose, upper lip, lower lip, and chin coming round, and the head comes right round like this to here, okay? You can actually see the shapes better. I've added a bit of contrast, I've colour corrected it, and then you're guessing somewhere, okay? So let's have a look at it in here. This is the meme I've done, and there's the raw clip in the middle, enhanced one on the side there. Sometimes I'll do it the other way round, but generally that's the way I do it. And I've got a credit to George McKay here, and the date, and here we are. You can actually see, if I move this across, you can actually see the eye detail. When you enhance it, you can even see the eye detail in there in the raw image, just here. Okay. But when you enhance it, it stands out, especially if you add a bit of contrast. You can see that eye, and you can see pupil detail there. That's the upper lid. Very bulbous. And you can actually see the nose and the top lip there. There's teeth detail here. Lower lip coming round, and then the chin. And the head comes right round. There's a little bit of detail at the back here, sticking down like that, which is a bit strange. Okay, and obviously it comes round. There's something behind this, which is a bit more blurred. I think that's behind. So the skull comes round like that, and to there, like that. And there's the upper lip. And you can actually see teeth detail there. So this may not be a carving. This may actually be a mummified, preserved specimen of a person. You can see the eye quite clearly. There's eye detail in there. And we have this crack coming around like this. And there's some detail here. So this may be a head injury like I've shown on others. You've got quite good nostril detail here with a shadow in exactly the right place, which is extremely unlikely to happen randomly on a rock. To have all these things together, the chances of this all happening randomly are very, very low indeed. Almost impossible. There's too many coincidences here for it to be just a normal rock. So this is either a carving or an actual specimen. There's probably lots of burials here, just like there are in Gale Crater. I've shown hundreds of burial sites now, and often there are things lying on the ground with these heads. Basically, these are all over the place, and just like in Gale Crater, they're exposed. These were probably buried in mounds, and the mounds have been eroded away by the wind over probably many thousands of years. So I would guess this thing is very old indeed. Who knows? We don't know. A lot of the carvings have very good eye detail on them, as if they're painted, which could explain why we've got this eye detail here. So this may be a carving, or it could be an actual specimen that's preserved in the sulfate-rich soil and sand. Who knows? Not quite enough detail to tell. We'd have to get a closer shot of this, really. But the fact that we have some teeth detail here says to me this may actually be a specimen, because you can see the teeth exposed there, where the lip has kind of shrunk back, exposing the teeth detail. Okay, as you would get on a mummy. So well done to George McKay for that one. That was a really good find, really interesting one. There's another one. There's another find here. Now we're going to go over to Gale Crater. This is by Mons Burkow, And this is Sol 3072, mast right. Strange skull at Mont Macau, and here it is. On the ground, we have this very strange thing here. Okay, and if you have hover zoom magnifier like I've got, everyone's using this now. I've started a trend with this. This is really cool, this thing. Here it is. We have another head, a very strange elongated shape to it. There's the eye, there's the nose, there's the mouth with teeth there. See 1, 2, 3, 4 top teeth and 1 or 2 bottom teeth. Not very clear. But once you enhance this, you can see it. And this is also very strange here. This looks like a body. I'm not saying it is, but it's shaped a bit like a dead body of some sort with legs sticking out. Very odd indeed. It's probably just rot, but who knows? There's some very weird stuff in this area, and I found loads and loads of preserved and encrusted fossilized creatures in this area, so it wouldn't surprise me. This looks like a limb sticking out with fingers. Who knows? But it's very strange, and that may have been attached to this. Who knows? But this looks to me like a head with a helmet. Now, I have found others. As those of you that have been following my channel for years will know, I found loads of these, and I'll put some examples in at the end of the video just to prove that this isn't just a one-off. There are dozens of these, and some of them are very clear indeed and quite close up to the rover. This one's a bit of a distance away, so it isn't brilliant. But what I've done, I've got a raw clip here and the enhancement in the middle this time. And basically what I've done is I've colorized the face part of the image so that you can see it better. And we have what looks like a helmet sticking up here. Very odd. Part sticking down there. And it comes around, and the face obviously comes right round. Here's the chin, nose, bridge of the nose, forehead. The other eye would be just looking that way. This is very odd. Animalistic, almost orc-looking features we got here. And the eye is there. Let's do that again. There's the eye. It's a lower lid there, or bag under the eye. Nostrils. Upper lip. And teeth. Got large, irregular teeth, much like some of the others I've shown. Here, and here, and here. Okay? Now, it may look rather strange, but this is a funny angle. And the fact that it's got this weird kind of plate of rock or whatever it is next to it makes it doubly strange, this one. This, I think, is an exposed burial. And basically what we have here behind it is part of the burial chamber or coffin. That's what this looks like. This looks like one end of it. Now, this thing or person or whatever you want to call it was probably buried in a box like this. The box would have come like that. Okay? Now, a lot of the burials I've shown are in the sitting position. They're not lying down. Okay? Which means that this was probably a box like this, going down into the ground, and this person would have either had the head separated with his helmet still on it and then buried in the box and the bones underneath like this, or buried in the sitting position like this, and the box would have carried on down with probably other parts to it as well, and this would have all been in like a little chamber. Okay, now I have shown exposed chambers before in Gale Crater. There are many of them. On some of these buttes, there are exposed chambers, and I've shown dozens of them. And they often have skulls in them, but they also often have little carvings and often have grave markers as well, which are often grave marker shaped like a tombstone, often curved or square or whatever. I found a number of those, and other people have as well. And often they have things carved on them, like writing and pictures of skulls and weird things as well. So they often have glyphs on them. So I think this was probably part of a burial, and what we're seeing is part of the box that it was in, probably a stone box. It may not be, this thing here. It looks kind of corroded. This may even be metal for all we know, this here. We've got this weird part coming down here. So who knows what this is made of, but it's very strange to have something like this next to that, which says to me that it must be part of some kind of coffin or burial, and only this part has survived. But the fact that that's there has actually probably protected this from erosion here, which is why we can still see teeth detail in here. It's very irregular, but this is not unlike some I've shown before. I'll put some clips of other similar ones I found in at the end with this. So that was interesting. Very strange, but interesting. And like I said, not unlike some I've shown before. Very strange shape, very elongated, and stretched out kind of long face. But some of these things are weird. They're not necessarily human. A lot of these things, they're Martians, and there seem to have been all sorts of weird types of people on Mars. And some of them look kind of reptilian, some of them look kind of cat-like, some of them look very ape-like, and some of them look human. So there's all sorts going on. And some of them look very insectoid-like, like the typical grey aliens you might see as well. So there are all sorts of things going on here, and a lot of these cultures may have overlapped or intermingled with each other, okay, at the same time. So there's some very complex stuff going on here. So suspend your disbelief until at least the end of the video, when I show you the rest of the clips that I'm going to show, where I'll show similar things I've found to this, and show you how extreme some of these faces can be. Some of these facial features can be very elongated and strange to us, because they seem stretched out and distorted, but basically they had lots of different types of people, and they weren't all human. Some were, like I said, some were very ape-like, and some were very cat-like or reptilian-like even. Okay, so that was cool. Nice you find that one. And then there was this. Now this is a cool one. Now I spotted this only today, this actual thing here. So this is the gigapan with this other new find. Now this is something I was showing in the previous video, and in the previous video I showed this image. Now this is Sol 3074. Now this is Mont Mercou here. This is the edge of Mont Mercou, the right edge, which you can also see here. It's a slightly different angle. This is taken a bit further round, this one, okay? And we got some very interesting details in this, what I think is an artificial structure, because you can see the actual construction parts in this concrete here. This isn't natural rock. You see the parts in it. A lot of this is concrete, okay? And the outer render, or outer layer, is cracked and fallen away, showing some of the internal structure, which you can see here. Natural rocks don't have these crossbars in them, okay? This is concrete. And basically this is the view I showed the other day, but what I've done is I've done this whole thing just so I can show you this, because this is really cool. You can actually see this weird structure here. It's supposed to be a butte, but it looks very artificial. Here's the colorized clip, just here. This looks like a roof on top here, coming down here with this part, sloping in a diagonal here. Now here's another view of it. Now this is from a bit further away, but we can see more around it. And behind this butte, or so-called butte here, which looks artificial here, we've got, here's the butte. There's that diagonal part coming down. This looks totally artificial. It's extremely old and eroded, but this looks like another structure. Very old indeed. But behind it, over here, we have another large carving of a humanoid or proto-human type head, just here. Now, this won't go any closer, so what I'll do, I'll make the magnifier a bit bigger. Here it is, right here. You've got an eye here, another one here. There's a nose in the middle, just there. Then we have a very large upper lip area, like some of the others I've shown, and a row of teeth here, and there's the chin at the bottom. Now, it's not immediately obvious this, it's quite a long way off. I would say it's probably a quarter of a mile away. It's that far away. It doesn't look it, but it is. It's really cool, this. I've only just found it, and I've taken a clip of this, which I've got here, and I'll show you that now. Here it is. So this is a close-up clip, and I've enhanced the contrast and brightened it a bit as well. There it is. It's not very clear. It's a good quarter mile away, maybe further. There it is. We've got the eyes here, one here, and one here. Nose with nostrils. The nostrils are a dead giveaway. If you get 2 eyes and a nose with nostrils, then you know you're on a winner, especially when you have teeth detail here. We've got teeth here. Okay, and the chin coming around like that. Not a great deal of detail here because it's a long way away, but it's very large. How tall is it? This could be 10 or 20 feet tall. It's really big. And we haven't seen it before because it's been tucked away behind these other buttes here, which we hasn't driven around the back of these. So we haven't seen this up close. But I have shown very similar things to this from a great distance away. And this may be one of the ones that I've shown before, a closer view of it, but we've only previously seen it from like a mile away. Okay, so this may be very large indeed. It's hard to work out how big it is exactly, but I would say it's about a quarter mile away, and probably this structure, this butte structure here in itself is probably about 30 or 40 feet high. So this is a good 10, 20 feet, this thing, I would say. It's very large. For it to be seen from this distance here, on this ridge here, at that distance, it must be very large. So that's really interesting. And this thing here is very, very odd indeed. Seeing it from this end, these details here are really interesting. So that looks like another very ancient eroded butte structure, which is probably artificial, just like this one we're looking at here. And this one probably is as well. I'm beginning to think all of them are now, because when you get up close to them, there's loads of weird stuff going on. A lot of them have got carvings on them, they've got heads carved in them, some have got glyphs carved on them, some have even got murals on the side of them, which I've shown before, and huge lettering on some of them, and some have got entrances and windows and things like that, which I've also shown. I'll put some clips of some of those things at the end in a minute. I'm not going to go on much longer because you can check these out yourself. Check out, as I said before, check out the links below. You can check all these gigapans out yourself. I always try and provide the raw clip images for you as well to show that this is all there. So if you're new to this channel, do come along to my main page and check out my playlists. I've got a whole bunch of playlists here on my channel, and there's a whole playlist here of perseverance stuff just here, and there's loads and loads of stuff from Gale Crater and other parts of Mars, and also the moon, and also loads of other crazy things that have been found, including loads of wrecked vehicles and missiles and cars and tanks and what they're like, boats and ships and stuff like that as well. So it's not just things like skulls or carvings that we're finding. There are a lot of other things have been found, not just in Gale Crater, but all over Mars by me and many other researchers from around the world. And in fact now, between the groups that I manage 10 groups on Facebook now, all Mars groups or Mars style groups. Between all those groups now, there's probably hundreds of thousands of people, probably 250,000 people that go on these sites now. So there's a lot of people interested in this stuff, and we have as many people working for us now as NASA do. So bear that in mind. So we've got a lot of eyes on the ground, and the more the better. The more eyes on the ground we have, the more things we find, and the more pieces to the puzzle we get, which bring us closer to the truth. I've worked out most of the corners. I've got the 4 corners of the puzzle. I've got the edges of the puzzle, and now we're all filling in the parts in between to find out exactly what happened, when it happened, and why it happened. We already know there was a nuclear war on Mars. We already know there was a huge disaster there. The point is, whose fault was it? So thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you soon.